Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And welcome to the Reaver of Common Sense. I am your host, Jersey Joe, and I'm here to make sense out of the senseless right here on shrmedia.com. If you want to join the conversation, just jump onto YouTube, look up SHR Media, and join the conversation. How you doing, Mike? Glad to have you, Phantom. We have a special guest. Let's see if he can hear me finally. We've been having a little bit of issue. BZ. How you doing tonight, sir? Can you not hear me?
Joe? Are you there, Joe?
Yes, I am here. You might want to relog.
Mr. Bojangles, are you there?
Here, boom. Let's have him relog back in. Hopefully he gets that and logs back in. And sometimes these softwares can get a little glitchy, and it's modern technology. Nothing's perfect. How you doing, Sackhead? Sean is in the chat room. I believe he's going to be checking us out, joining us on the second half. Hopefully BZ will jump back in a second. Otherwise, it has been now I'm kind of off for a second. The idiots on X. Oh my God. Yeah, I could hear BZ fine. I'd been trying to talk to him the whole time, and I didn't know if he was just too busy singing or he couldn't hear me. But yeah, X has been, oh my God. I've been trying to stay off it a little bit because it's the liberal bash, and holy shit, are they in an uproar right now. And Republicans, and especially in the House right now, they just gave Democrats a lot of ammunition. And yeah, we'll get to Comey too. We're going to get to Comey. Other liberals have tried that too, and now they're crying that Secret Service is showing up at their houses. Ed Cranston, him and his got a twin brother. He put up a different photo of taking up pool balls. Let's see if he can hear me now. Can you hear me now, BZ?
Can I hear you? I can hear you, sir.
Okay, I was trying to tell you.
I believe I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I heard you all along singing.
Did you like my singing?
I was trying to tell you I couldn't hear you.
I couldn't hear you. I was trying to tell you I couldn't hear you.
How are you doing tonight, sir?
I am bulbous. Obviously, clearly, facts and evidence. And I sang just for you. I sang, let's see, I sang Yellow Submarine and I sang Taxman, both by the Beatles. I was in tune like no one has ever heard before. You may have heard
say that again, like no one's ever heard before.
Oh my God. OMG. Let's see. Hey, look, it's the chat room. Yes. Hey, look, it's Jersey Joe and Mike and Phantom and that Lewis guy.
Yeah.
Is that
he'll be here on the second half right now?
Malcolm,
he's getting
Malcolm
the
Lewis?
food.
Jim Lewis, Malcolm Lewis,
SP Lewis,
Stanley Lewis, CS Lewis,
Saltpeter Lewis.
That's the guy. Saltpeter Lewis used to be my grocer back in California. Fucker always put saltpeter in my meat. I only found out just before I left. God dang.
Saltpeter.
I hate guys like that. You know, the sad thing is, I hope you're sitting down.
Yes.
There's nothing to talk about.
Oh, no, nothing.
Boring. So you said, I think I heard you say something about Twitter.
Yes.
That Twitter is popping off.
Or X, yes, with liberals.
X, yes.
Real bad.
Jesus.
Real bad.
That's
what
I
also was getting James Comey situation, and then you had other liberal paid personnel that were posting their own pictures of the numbers 86 and 47 together. One of them was Ed. I'm going to mispronounce his name, Kranenstein or some shit like that. Him and his twin brother, scumbags as they are, in my opinion. He goes and puts up his own using pool cues to, put out the numbers of 8647. And he knew what he was doing. He knew exactly what he was doing. And he got a visit by Secret Service tonight. I think it was like about 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And then he's going to cry that Secret Service, oh, we live in a fascist country, authoritarian country. Trump sent them to me for using my free speech.
What a fascist authoritarian country. I said it before and I'll say it again, and I don't know if yours is any different. One of you said something similar to, hey, just log out, log back in, you'll be okay.
For a couple minutes.
My ex is nothing but wall-to-wall fucking leftist assholes. I'm not getting anybody through my ex feed that I follow. And I'm just curious if your feed is like that, or if anyone else's feed is like that. I think Sean not long ago said, okay, log out, log back in.
That's what I did, and it corrected it for about 5 minutes, and then it went right back to liberal shit stand. I'm getting here.
Oh, yeah. That's all. I know exactly what you're talking about. It's wall-to-wall leftist fuck sticks.
Yeah, I don't know if they're just posting more to try to take over the algorithm, or did someone break the algorithm? Because I don't want to be seeing all this shit, because I'm getting tired of the gaslighting that's coming from the Democrat with all their bullshit. Well, and that's what it is. They're outright lying to the American people.
It's an abject lie. I was looking on my phone here. I have it on the other one.
Mike, they did go to Blue Sky, but they came back just as Mark Hamill and I forget the rest of them. Oh, I'm going to Blue Sky. I'm leaving next. I'm never coming back. Yeah, they're already back. Well, go ahead, BZ.
And I don't know how to get it to stop, except just not looking at X anymore. I kind of sort of got my stories from X, but it was just nice to find out other perspectives, because the dealio is I would see leftist perspectives anytime I went to the American media maggots. It was rife with that. And I didn't need to see anymore, because you and I are essentially the antidotes to those sorts of things. At least that's what we try to be. We try to expose the other side. But there are times when, every once in a while, you're just up to here with bullshit and lies.
Yeah.
A couple of very important stories broke today. Lost Wanderer evening. The Lost Wanderer is here, proving what? Not all who wander are lost. But a very important, yet depressing, yet clearly indicative of bias story came out that I don't think anybody has pulled yet. And I'll talk to you about that in just a moment. What would you like? What would you care to talk about first, Sir?
Well, I'm going to save our big story,
Sir Reaver of Common Sense.
I'm going to save our big story for when Sean comes, since he's the one that kind of at least broke it to me. And he has the article up on shrmedia.com where you can catch it right now. But if you want to wait, we'll be playing it as soon as he gets done stuffing his face.
No, that's okay. I understand. I'm chopped liver. I womped down my.
You could have brought it on and just
and I zomped it down. I fed the kids early, just to be here for you, only to have your damn program kick my fat damn ass right off. Luckily, I'm a savant.
Wizard.
I'm a savant, and I knew how to get back on. Now, some people say similar things too.
How you doing, Claudia? I'm going through Facebook. How are you doing tonight?
Oh, Claudia.
Yes. Nice to have you.
Claudia.
Cheek.
Cheek. Hey, Claudia sends me stuff all the time. I have not seen her in a chat here. Welcome, Claudia. Good to see you.
My special.
Oh, she likes you. Only you. I see how it works. I'm not special. I rushed my food. I'm choking on it right now, as a matter of fact. Your software kicks me out. I managed to overcome the software, and yet you don't want to talk the important stories of the day with you. You want to wait for Sean. Let's wait for Sean. Sean knows everything. Okay, I will. Fine. I will tell you, you guys are earlier for a change. Well, okay.
9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
Now, I think Claudia is referring to the other two, which is me and Sean. We're normally on at 8 p.m. So maybe that's what she's referring to. I'm on
for Eastern time. I don't know what time she is. So I'm 9 o'clock Eastern. You guys are what? 11 o'clock Eastern.
Well, Eastern, yeah.
Yeah.
I think she may be referring to wait. Can you put this up? See do you have the capability to put up her last comment?
That one?
Look at that. I love you guys. Oh,
somebody does at least.
As I say, like Chief Dan George, Claudia, my heart soars like an eagle. Thank you ever so kindly. That was really nice. Thanks, Claudia.
Claudia, those guys are 11 p.m. on the Eastern. I'm in Florida, so I do 9 p.m. I'm on the right coast. They're on that, the left.
Yeah. I'm not quite so left. I'm in Idaho. So I'm not in, like California always spelled.
How you doing, big girl?
Mission Ready Men is here. Good to see him. Mike, Mission Ready Men, Phantom. Sean Lewis says he's here. Number one, I don't believe it. Number two, you can't trust anything he says. And the other thing is, that guy gets cookies from people, and I don't get cookies.
Who gets cookies?
Sean got mailed cookies. Ask him, Joe, brace him when he gets back on. Say something like, and fold your arms too. Look stern and say something like, hey, asshole. I heard you got cookies from the East Coast.
And not sharing with other fat men?
Yeah. So when he comes on, if he deigns to lower himself with us rabble in here, you see,
I'll hold his Biden bust hostage.
Hey, wait. I like that. That's a great idea. Sadly, I may as well Bigfoot him because we're waiting. Sean, we're waiting for Sean here. Actually, my kid got cookies, not from what I heard. I heard they were sent directly to Sean from the East Coast, but we'll talk about that later. Actually, Reaver of Common Sense, right over here, Jersey Joe has promised that he's going to brace you on this when your Gesicht actually gets here. Here's a story that nobody has. I don't know why I'm bringing it up, but I have to, because I think this opens a door that is going to be a huge issue in 2026. And I think we have to look at the results we have to look at 2026 like this. There are two issues that are going on simultaneously with regard to the Democrat Party. And everybody says, yeah, they're in an uproar. Okay, they're in an uproar primarily with regard to who they want to lead the Democrat Party. Who's going to be their number one dude or dudette for 2028? But that's not the issue necessarily. The first issue that's going to be slamming us right upside of our face, like a huge wet tuna, about 200 pounds, is going to be the 2026 midterms. So all of the things that are out in the open that are being thrown about the ozone right now are going to be issues that are coming up. Well, they're here. I don't know if I can share this. Yeah. Let me share this and see if you can put this up.
There you go.
This is not a good story. Now, if Melanie Collette were here, or somebody that knows something a lot more about economics, but I mean, I can read economic rooms. This is a very bad story. And this definitely, now today's Friday, you know, in a way that's very lucky, but don't think that this is not going to be discussed all around the boneyard land in terms of the Democrats. Is this, you know, I'll just read the article. Moody's, this is from CNBC. Okay, I get it. Just because it's from CNBC doesn't make it wrong, because I checked other articles. Unfortunately, this is correct. Moody's downgrades the United States credit rating, citing growth in government debt. Mike Pasqua is right. Democrats are in a civil war, but don't count them out, especially for 2026. There are zero laurels on which to sit right now at this point. But that story right there is huge. And don't think this won't be used as major, huge fodder coming up. Mike Pasqua said, "I love your car guy, BZ." Went to his YouTube page. Good. That was good. I'm glad you watched last night. So growth in government has pushed Moody's, which rates various governments, has pushed them to downgrade the U.S. sovereign debt. They're saying that our debt is at the highest credit rating possible, and they've decided to lower the U.S. credit profile. Okay, the big question that I point out is, fundamentally, I kind of understand this. The timing is shitty, but where was Moody's during the auto pen regime? I seem to have heard crickets during all of that. I seem to have heard nothing about the inflation that was all over the place during 46. And for Moody's to come out right now at this point and make a rating that says everything to me that it's political. And it will, whether this is accurate, whether it's not, I question Moody's in terms of the timing and why this wasn't splayed all around the American media maggots during the tenure of the auto pen. And we know that it wasn't. So Moody's cut the U.S. sovereign credit rating down one notch from AA1 to AAA.
I think it's intentional.
It's okay. I understand it. There's a big, beautiful bill coming. I happen to,
as long as the Republicans can get out of their own way on it.
Well, yes and no. Steve Scalise, I watched and listened to an interview from Steve Scalise, I don't know, about 5 or 6 hours ago. I don't even recall to whom he was speaking. But he said something similar to, yeah, we're having some problems. We're trying to get some people back into line. And in the process of doing that, I think we'll be able to do it. And he prognosticated that maybe by Sunday, maybe by Monday, we'll have this. Okay. Now,
I'm sure they will. But if you ever notice, it's the same.
Yeah, it's
every single time that caused the problems.
It's the Tom Tillises, etc. I watched Chip Roy talk about that. And you know, I have to tell you folks, I'm torn. I am truly torn. Yes, we are trillions in debt. Mission Ready Men says, yeah, they're trying to rig the elections already.
Yep.
Facts and evidence. Sean said, exactly. Why now suddenly? Who runs Moody's? That's a good question. That is worth examination. But the timing on this couldn't be worse, particularly in light of the push to get the bill passed. Now it's going to have a lot of big pluses coming. I think part of this is, if I can remember all 3 points, some of the major points are no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security, which is a big benefit to the older contingent who say, oh, you're going to ruin all of our entitlements. You're taking them all away. Well, that's bullshit. But at the same time, Trump is not like Bush Jr. in terms of spending like a drunken sailor, because that was an insult to drunken sailors at that point. But I'm still of two minds about this, because there will be continuous pushback on all of it. Now, if we were able to make Doge cuts permanent, and a lot of the things that were enacted were done by EOs, and I'm sad to say this, but it's true. If you live by the EOs, you're going to die by the EOs. And what that means is, in 28, if you get somebody else in there, you're going to have that somebody else, if they're not a Republican or a conservative, do what Trump did. And everything will be reversed by EO, by the stroke of a pen, according to Obama. Rick Robinson, and I agree with this. I said it a little bit earlier, and he says it almost every damn day. He's very sad that Trump didn't try to assemble the band back again in terms of, let's have a shit ton of bills ready to go to get to Congress to pass, and let's have the fight there. The fight instead has been on the side of the EOs. And though, as we said, our hearts collectively do soar like eagles, EOs aren't making it.
But the problem with that's going on is you have 20 Republicans in the Senate that are fighting against codifying the Doge cuts.
You see, yes, okay, correct.
That's not helping. And real quick on this, the big, beautiful bill, because that's actually what I was going to bring up. So we kind of all tying in together. Is everything the way I would like it to be? No. Is there enough cuts in it? I don't think so. But it's called compromises that you got to make. You can't go in there and slash everything that you want and expect it to pass. You know what I mean? It takes compromise. You got to work with it. And some of these people, they want it their way and their way only. They're not, and I'm talking about Republicans, they're not willing to work with the party and say, okay, I may not be happy about that, but we got X, Y, and Z, and this one part I didn't like. Well, they'll kill the whole bill just because that one friggin' part. And that's what pisses me off about the Republican Party.
Well, there are a bunch of things that are occurring simultaneously here. First, that a lot of people aren't talking about is the 2017 Trump tax cuts are up, and if they don't have the votes, they'll be cut. So essentially, if you cut the Trump 2017 tax cuts, then you're looking at an additional $4 trillion in taxes to be levied against the American taxpayer. And that would equate to roughly an increase of just federal taxes, because the rest of the taxes will fall all down the line to the various states and whatnot. That's an increase in one fiscal year of roughly $3,000 per family. Now, you tell me the number of families that can take it up the ass for $3,000 because they just magically happen to have it sitting, I don't know, under their sofa or something like that. That's not working. As we continue with this and we look at the budget with a big, beautiful budget, and yes, there are going to be increases, but what should have ideally gone on, but didn't, as you point out, quite rightfully, is, okay, if you pass this budget, it's a ton of money. Concurrently, there should have been cuts from DOGE codified into law already, which would make up for the expanded amounts of money. So what is it that leftists and the Republicans, for that matter, don't get about you need to stop spending so damn much? But it is anathema to DC to do that. I want to go back to the chat. Sean is making some really good points in chat. Now, we were talking about Moody's, where it came out today that they downgraded the U.S. credit rating, citing the growth in the government debt. Well, Sean did a little diving here. And he said in 2024, Moody's spent $500,000 plus on lobbying efforts addressing topics like ESG, and that's environmental, social, and governance considerations, credit risk, and decentralized finance, including digital assets. Then he continues. He said, while Moody's itself doesn't contribute to PACs, individual employees have made political contributions. For instance, a guy named Mark Zandi, chief economist at Moody's Analytics. Mark Zandi has donated to various Democrat candidates, including Hillary Clinton, Joe Sestak, and Bob Casey. And having done a nice dive into this, Sean says, basically, it appears the entire board consists of leftists at Moody's. And there you have your answer. Timing is everything. In Coptum, perfect timing was catching a bad guy at this juncture, at this moment in time. The opportunity is there. The window was open. You make the nab and you feel great. So the first time I saw this article about an hour ago, the very first thing that kicked my ass was, this is timing. This is I understand the fundamentals behind this, but B, why now? Why Moody's? Where were they during the auto pen regime when inflation was much higher, when everything was nuts and spending exploded? So did inflation. You know, the auto pen regime was handed about a 1.7, 1.9% inflation when Trump 45 left. And then it exploded like a big whale on an Oregon coast blown apart with explosives and PETN. If you ever saw that video, that was kind of fun to watch. But that's exactly what happened. So again, Sean did a little bit of a dive. Okay, well, let's be honest. You know, one of the things I say about my show is I don't make anything up. I don't have to make anything up. I don't need to. All I do is go to the internet and I look and I find articles and videos that everybody, like I say, via the internet, that I bring to people. I'm no great shakes. I'm no smart guy. The American media maggots purposely choose to ignore this stuff. And you're about to say something, so go. Wait.
Oh, no, it's not like Sean, just to hold up on a minute, but we actually have to hit a break. When we get back, throw up the inflation chart just to show people how, what's going on. But we're going to be right back right after this message, and we got a
promise
here.
Promise?
Yes.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Ever dream of escaping the daily grind? At Escapist Travel and Tours, we make those dreams your reality. From breathtaking adventures to cultural immersions, we offer escapes tailored just for you. Let us take you to places where every moment feels like a new chapter in your life's adventure. Visit www.escapist.travel or call us today at 1-855-885-81776. Your escape awaits.
Attention, all patriotic women of faith. Yep, I'm talking to you, sis. Are you looking for high-quality, super soft apparel that reflects your love for country and your devotion to God? Look no further than Carry Girl Gear. Picture this. You rocking a tee so soft it's like being hugged by a cloud, all while showing off your love for God and country. Sounds dreamy, right? Well, welcome to reality, babes, because that's what we're all about here at Carry Girl Gear. We specialize in super soft tees, tanks, and more, designed specifically for the strong, patriotic woman who proudly wants to carry their message of faith and freedom. When you shop with us, you're not just getting a t-shirt. You're joining a community of like-minded women who are proud to wear their beliefs straight on their tees. So whether you're sipping sweet tea on the porch or leading the charge for faith and freedom, do it in a Carry Girl tee. Because life's too short for stiff, boring tees. CarryGirl.com, where faith and freedom meets fashion.
Come listen to BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon Radio Show. Live on select and exclusive Tuesday and Thursday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Central, and 8 p.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Rumble channel, SHR Media YouTube channel, X, Twitch, Spreaker, and wherever great conservative podcasts are found. BZ, your conservative Sherpa, guides you through the maelstrom of Democrat, leftist, and globalist lies, chaos, deceit, and betrayal. Raised as a free-range child with dirt, stains, mud, and freedom, BZ broadcasts from North Idaho, comfortably surrounded by actual normal people. Jump into our plush, sumptuous, palatial, and resplendent chat room on rumble.com. Click on live chat to join. Now, with 37% more umbrage and 19% more bulbosity than previous shows, featuring delicious Liberty additives for the best in late-night conservatarian talk radio. BZ reminds you that with great beard comes great responsibility. No chinchillas were harmed, embarrassed, fat-shamed, or the focus of any sarcasm whatsoever in the making of this ad.
What is the Edge of Liberty? News, politics, commentary, sarcasm, alcohol, and high blood pressure. It's as American as a good revolution. So tune in every Monday and Friday at 12 Pacific, 3 p.m. on the East Coast on the SHR Media Network and KLRN Radio. For details, visit www.shrmedia.com.
And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense. I am your host, Jersey Joe, and I'm here to make sense out of the senseless. And I got a couple of special guests. Of course, we got BZ.
Hi, kids.
And gracing us after pounding out some food, we have Zach Edgelon.
I love how it's gracing you, and you admitted it. So I appreciate that. It's about time I get the recognition I deserve.
I liked it better when his head was like really low, just above Jersey Joe. Can you do that again? There you go. That's how I like to see my Sean.
Hey, BZ, it's nice to be on your show this evening.
Thank you. Thank you. I had to talk it over with Joe to see if it was okay.
What? That you're going to start directing the cameras mid-show?
Hey, listen, why not? Don't think I don't have magical powers, magical huge powers, and the lamentations of the women.
So let's bring up the inflation for the last couple of years. And
that's good. I like that.
It's actually, let me get rid of this.
One from column A, one from column B.
There we go.
You have chow fun?
Huh?
I would love to have some chow fun, but go ahead.
Oh, no kidding.
So in 2017, we had an inflation of 2.1%, 2018 of 2.4%, 2019 of 1.8%, 2020 1.2%.
Hey, Joe.
Yeah.
Question: who was president all those years?
Hey,
I think I need to go to Chat GPT to answer this. That was President Trump.
Biden probably wished he had Chat GPT, but go ahead.
And then we see 2021, 4.7, 2022, 8.0, 2023, 4.1, and 2024, 3.2.
So I asked the original question, Moody's, comma, where were you during those points, during those years?
I answered that, though. That's why I dove into it. This is political. First of all, Moody's could be any banking institution. Moody's is publicly traded. They are a business, and their business is to make money for its shareholders. That's what it does. It also, as you saw, as to what it donated to and who it donated to, not the entity. I understand that, but the people running the entity. Look, if the captain of your ship is constantly drunk, odds are you're going to fucking hit something, right? That's just, it's cause and effect. When all of your board members and leadership are liberals, they're going to get political, and that's just the way it is. And like Joe just pointed out, with all the inflation and government spending that we had under the last administration, they didn't say shit. But now with tariffs and everything else, and remember, Moody's doesn't just invest in the government, or it doesn't just grade the government. It's all over the world. It's got other interests. And when the liberals are in office, things like the ESG that they donate so much into becomes more valuable. That's why they're promoting it within government. So they show you their hand. They show you what they believe in, even as an entity, which is the environment, social justice, yada, 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 all the same bullshit that the left loves to do. And then they come out and drop a bomb like this, not because it's reflective of reality, but they know most people will not do what Joe did, which is dive into some of the numbers and see what the real truth is.
But what's the current, not to cut you off, but what's the current inflation rate?
I forget we had it. I was 2.1%?
No. As of April 2025, as of ChatGPT, the U.S. annual inflation rate has decreased to 2.4%, down from 2.8 in March.
Yeah.
So that's a perfect time to degrade the credit rating, isn't it?
How else can you hurt America?
Well, SCOTUS can do that, like they did today.
Yeah. But the problem is, places like Moody's and the PACs and other stuff, they don't control SCOTUS per se. And even if SCOTUS is voting the way they want them to, this is another way to compile what SCOTUS is doing.
That was weird.
Yeah, that was weird. Did you know there was a spaceship behind you, Sean? We saw it fly by, and it affected your mic. That was weird.
Sound like you were going through a time warp there.
Yeah, he did. I saw it.
Yeah, and sadly, I did nothing but look 10 years older. I gained nothing out of that but age 10 years.
Don't think he's going to go back. He will go back and watch this show later tonight at 38 after. He'll go back and he'll hear and see what actually happened.
I heard it.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, I heard it, but I, being a good guest, came prepared and have notes, and I understand the topic we're talking about. So I was focused at presenting.
Like a laser beam.
Like a laser. Like a drunk laser.
Are you? Look at me. Look, I'm not even doing it. I'm on Monster right now.
That's probably worse.
This is not like me.
I did save your article for when you were here.
Thank you.
I figured you wrote the article.
Mm-hmm.
All by yourself.
I did. All by myself.
So I figured I'd wait for you. So, the summary.
Now ask me if I edited it, and the answer will be no. I don't edit my own articles because I'm terrible at editing. But yes, all the words that are on there and the gist of my article was written by me.
Hey, you know what? I've talked about it. I do the same thing with a lot of my stuff on X. I write the gist of it, run it through AI to edit it, and put it out there.
I'll tell you my whole process. I listened to the audio. I read the Axios report. I wrote down my talking points. I wrote down what I thought was important. I wrote it. I wasn't trying to piggyback on Axios, but I was trying to write a report that said, hey, this is kind of the things that stuck out to me, and you should read the whole report. And I linked it back to Axios.
Yeah. But we'll get to that as soon as we're done talking about inflation.
You brought it up.
I know. No, I'm just.
I brought it up. I'm the asshole that
It's all BZ's fault.
I brought
Hey,
up. the
finally,
movie
somebody else's
rating.
fault. It's not
I'm
mine.
the
Holy shit!
fuckstick that's responsible.
Jeez.
The best part is that was like BZ said nothing that entire time, and he took blame for all of it. That was the best part.
Hey, I normally get blamed all the time. The squad. It was always my fault. I didn't even have to be there to be my fault.
See, even bad attention is good attention.
Yeah.
I'm too poor to pay attention.
Yes.
I can only afford the pee, so I'm just.
Hey, I feel that.
All
I'm
right.
more ore.
I had to take a loan out for the ore.
Yeah.
Iron?
Yes, the iron ore. And you see why the games of telephone back in the day used to happen how they did. You don't remember playing telephone as a kid? Where you'd say something, you'd sit in a circle with your friends, or especially second, third grade, and somebody would say a phrase into you, and you'd start repeating it, and you'd hear what the phrase was by the time it got back to the beginning.
Oh, the game telephone.
Yeah.
I've heard it.
I was not clear about that.
I saw the look on your face, Sean. I saw that. It was quizzical.
Yeah, that's why I didn't know what you were talking about.
I'm totally lost where we're at.
Okay. We should probably go to inflation then.
Yeah.
Or the Her report.
I know my the inflation in my waist is going down, but but all right. The Moody's is just a joke. It's a political hit piece to try to damage the Trump administration
entirely.
Well,
this is not. I admit today's not the greatest day for a Trump administration with wins. They've had a few setbacks. But the economy is doing great. We're getting deals done on the tariffs. And to the point now, I see liberals going, see that? He's backing down from the tariffs. He's a coward. I'm like, oh my God, this man can't win. Stock market goes down. It's Trump's fault. Stock market goes up. He's enriching his billionaire friends.
Yep. They say, you just said Trump can't win, but he is. I mean, if you look at what he's done with the tariffs, and if you look at what he's done with the amount of investment that he's getting into this country, he's winning. And people are seeing that. I'm glad you kind of brought up a good point about the stock market, but I also think his approval rating this last month has gone up overall. Even with leftists, it's gone up. And the reason is, I think more and more people are less and less worried about social justice shit. And I think that they're seeing the exposure of what the last 4 years truly was. I think that they've seen they're over DEI, they're over all of that. I think even the average person is sick of that. And I think it's why they're going into overtime right now, trying to disparage this administration the best they can.
Well, when you lose Bill Maher, that says it all.
They're like a drowning person with a life raft and a person attached to the life raft. And if they can, in an attempt to save themselves, they'll kill you.
Mm-hmm. They'll drown you with you. Yeah.
They're right.
Yeah, might as well pop the life raft, and that way nobody gets it. Everybody gets a trophy. Everybody wins or nobody does.
But I love what I'm seeing on X, right? Not love, but I find it the irony how they're crying about, they're cutting Medicaid. They're cutting Medicaid. And what's being cut out of Medicaid? The waste, the fraud, illegal immigrants that were put on illegally by the Biden administration. And that's what they're fighting for. And that
shouldn't be on there.
All I've seen Democrats do over the last umpteenth months is fight for criminals.
Yeah. And I think I think more and more the American people have seen that too, which is why Trump's approval rating keeps going up.
I think that the whole Kilmar, or whatever his name is,
Abrego Garcia.
I think that was more damaging to the Democrats than they even realize.
Well, it's a sideshow. It's a stupid sideshow. Everyone needs to realize that, tariffs aren't done. If you think that tariffs are a done issue in any form by Trump, you're a fucking moron. These are deals and negotiations in progress.
Yeah.
There is no final end all and be all bottom line for any of this. This is how it works. These are negotiations. This is exactly what you want from a president. America has gotten to the point where they think that in terms of America and say another country or another agency or another organization, it all needs to be unilateral. That is to say, America gives and all these other fuckers take, and then they demand more. So each negotiation we cannot continue with unilateral trade agreements or negotiations at all. It is, and it has historically been and must continue to be quid pro quo. Okay, Ukraine, we give you something, we want something back. NGOs that in my mind shouldn't exist, we give you something, we kill your ass. That's how I think we should handle NGOs, particularly religious NGOs. But anything we do or give to somebody has got to, by their very nature, have strings attached so that there is a benefit to the people of the United States, the people who, through their hard-earned taxpayer dollars, fund the fucking planet.
Well, what I don't understand is people, and this is the way I sort of look at it with our financial and what we do in the world, is, we're borrowing money to give to other people. So that'd be like, take anybody in the audience, any liberal, anybody, and you're going to take out a loan that you're going to have to pay back to give to someone
and take a loss on it
away from you that hates your guts, and you're going to give them the money and they're never going to pay you back, but you got to pay back that loan. Let me see how many idiots would actually take that deal in the society today.
But Joe, and here's the thing, it's not like you're taking out the loan and you're investing it. You're taking out the loan and pissing it away knowingly.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah. There's no return on investment.
You're never going to get an ROI.
And if the tariffs were so bad, why weren't the liberals bitching when Biden raised the tariff rate on China?
Well, and if you really want to know my answer, is because liberals in this country, by and large, think we've had it too good for too long and that we should suffer more. That there should be, look, it's a they want a redistribution of our wealth. Why do you think they flooded it with illegals? Why do you think they flood the systems with illegal, right? It's because you and I pay more and more and more out of our paycheck to pay for them. What is that? It's a redistribution of wealth, one way or another. BZ said when he was talking about tariffs, they can't be unilateral anymore. They could be unilateral anymore if they were actually unilateral. If they were actually both sides benefited and both sides were getting a push out of it. But it's not, as BZ pointed out, and as Joe pointed out, we take it in the shorts. We pay more for everything. Other countries pay less. And when have you seen another president in this country attack tariffs that hurt Americans more than it hurts any other country we do business with?
Yeah.
Well, including pharmaceuticals.
Yes.
Yeah.
We pay the upfront. We pay the midpoint. We pay the middlemen, multiple middlemen. And then we also pay on the back end.
Well, I remember back, I think it was the late 80s, and I wasn't even into politics, and I remember it being brought out. We need to pay a higher rate on medical. We need to pay higher on health because we're a rich nation. That's the way these other countries that can't afford it can get lower cost on everything. But because we're so rich, we need to pay a higher rate. And we made deals to do that. And now the people that made those deals are now complaining we're paying higher rates.
That was the whole baser argument under Obamacare.
Yeah.
That was like the whole baser argument. You remember the guy that wrote the Obamacare bill said that he wrote it knowing it would lead to the single payer system. Yep. He knew the intent of Obamacare was to go towards full-blown medical socialism. So we're like all these other countries where, hey, you're going to get an elective surgery to fix your ankle because you can't walk on it, 2 years. That's what it is.
And that's also, I was going to make the point earlier, you have these idiots that are complaining, all these people are going to get kicked off of Medicaid, are the same cocksuckers that kick people off their health plans during Obamacare. And you know what
100%.
they did? They sat there and laughed about it. They thought it was funny that people were losing health care.
Well, and Joe, I'll tell you, just living in California, I have a plan right now that is not nearly as good as I had just before Obamacare passed. And I know we've talked about this since Obamacare passed. It's not a shock. I am paying almost 60% more for my health insurance, and I am getting what I estimate based off of the numbers on the plan that we're on. I estimate that I'm getting 40% less.
Yeah.
I have a deductible that is every year the same price as a used car.
Yeah.
So in order for me to get all this stuff done, I have to buy a used car. And I said all the time, my last surgery, I had a hip injury that I had to have replaced, and I've had some spinal issues and stuff like that. You have to, I am, with not even exaggerating, almost $17,000 in medical debt.
Yeah.
And I had insurance the whole time.
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous the way it's going nowadays, and it needs to get corrected. Obamacare is staying on this country, but they never go into overtime. But I do want to switch gears.
All right, let me just say this.
Go ahead.
They've never taken healthcare seriously in this country. If they would have passed interstate under the Interstate Commerce Clause and allowed healthcare companies to sell across state lines, and to have hospitals do the same and medical centers do the same.
Yep. And make it transportable. Transportable. Yes. It's still you paying the same bill. Make it transportable.
Agreed.
Exactly. All right, we're going to switch up gears because I do want to get to this article. What do you think? Just play the video and let people go from there?
Let's play the video and talk about it. The video is that, I mean, I appreciate the article if you guys want to read it at shrmedia.com, but the video really is showing what's just stunning. I mean, it's stunning. And I tell everybody, if you haven't read the article, listen to the clock in the background. It plays a big role in how long you can sit there and suss out how long it takes Joe to make a response. Go ahead.
What?
No, I
was just saying it makes me question the last year or two of his office. What was just legal and what wasn't.
But that's what made Robert Hur say what he said.
Where to go?
Yep. And he knew it, and he was.
You can't prosecute the mentally deficient. That's what he said,
and he was demonized for it.
Yep. All right, here we go.
Was this memo, Mr. President, was this something that you consciously kept after your term as vice president? Is this something that you wanted to hold on to?
I don't recall did I have this? Was this in my possession, this memo?
Yes, to give you some context for this, Mr. President, it was found in the front of this notebook that's on the first page, and the notebook was found in the library at the Lake House in one of the drawers in the cabinet.
You don't recall? I don't recall how it got back. I mean, I don't recall how it got back in the book.
Hold on a second.
I sent it to the president. I gave it to the president.
As you're listening to this, remember his lawyer is sitting next to him. He just said, yes. Your answer is, I don't recall. So he's even being prompted by his lawyer in some of these responses.
Exactly.
Sorry, Joey, go ahead.
No, you could hear that guy in the background.
Yep. He tried to be subtle.
Because I sent it to the president. I gave it to the president. And this looks like the original. I don't think maybe there's a copy made of it, but I don't think so.
It was faxed, just to give you
okay, context. That's why.
Yeah.
All right, now I got it. I wasn't sure whether I handed it to the president. It was faxed to the president, which I had the copy.
Right.
Okay.
You had the original.
Yeah, I had the original, and I just put it in the book, and that was it.
Okay. Were you aware that you had kept it after your term as vice president? Did you know that you had it?
I don't know that I knew, but it wasn't something I would have stopped to think about.
The reason I ask is it's been written about. Bob Woodward wrote about it in one of his books. Jules Whitcover wrote about it in his biography of you. So that's the reason I asked, is if it was something that you wanted to hang on to because it was going to be the subject of reporting or history.
I don't want it to be subject of reporting, but I wanted to hang. I guess I wanted to hang on to it just for posterity's sake. I mean, this was my position on Afghanistan.
Sure.
I've been of the view, from a historical standpoint, that there are certain points in history, world history, where fundamental things change using technology. For example, without Gutenberg's printing press, Europe would be a very different place. Literally a different place. Because
What the?
Yeah.
I'm going to give a little lesson in testimony right now for people that may have to testify at some point in court. Did I just get another alien?
You did. I saw it.
Okay. All right.
Oh, that's notifications I'm getting.
Got it. So here's a little, just and BZ, so you have more experience at testimony than I do probably. But when you're testifying in any situation, deposition, court, given a written statement, whatever, you only answer the questions that you ask and you don't expand unless you're asked to do so. You do not ramble on about keeping things for posterity's sake. And you also notice too, this was the original and he kept a copy of the facts and he can't remember. Now, I'm not saying that this was a war plan that the whole world knew about, but the simple fact of the matter is this was something he was supposed to not have, and it was supposed to be protected like other classified documents.
All right. I'm just floored.
Continue.
countries would not have known what was happening in other countries, other parts of the country. Think about a stupid idea, a notion. Nixon probably would have been president where he used the television, where he sweating. I mean, sincerely, he was sweating so profusely in that debate. A lot of people thought he won the debate, but he lost.
That was 1960, for Christ's sake.
So there's a lot of things.
It was just like yesterday to him.
I think are fundamentally changing how.
What does that have to do with him?
Nothing.
Having documents.
Nothing.
See, in court, that would be called obfuscation and deflection, and you wouldn't be able to get away with it.
Well, and here's the part that I ask you this, BZ. I agree with you if this was a regular court setting. However, the argument could very well be made easily that he doesn't even know what he's rambling about right now.
Yeah.
He's just
or that he's rambling.
Or that he's rambling. Yes, absolutely. And as we've saw with other context with him over the 4 years, it's an entire possibility that he had no idea he was still talking about Nixon in the 60s in his television appearance.
Or who he was talking to.
Or who he was talking to. Or if he had pants on.
International societies function. And they relate a lot to technology. And one of the things that I was of the view that a lot has changed in terms of everything from the internet to the way in which we communicate with one another, to that has fundamentally altered the ability. I've had this discussion with the press.
I think he's trying to build his defense of, at the time, I didn't know because of the faxing and of the technology, and I didn't understand that I couldn't. It's what it sounds like he's trying to make as a defense. Like, I didn't understand technology enough to know this was wrong, but he kept the originals. So it's a moot point anyways. It was in his notebook. He had the originals.
Yeah.
So why are you going on this blame of technology and how it's changed when a fax machine was used to fax this to then President Obama? But this has nothing. Nothing to do with the task at hand other than the fact of technology. Yeah, it's really inventing. Gutenberg's printing press changed Europe. Hey, there's Nixon sweating in front of the camera in the 60s against JFK. Most people thought he would have won if he wasn't sweating so much. He actually won the debate. Joe, shut the fuck up.
In a depot, in a depot or a court case, there would be the attorney saying one word: unresponsive.
Mm-hmm. Because I want to get this one, and I do want to get the other video that's out of difficulty with dates and his son Bo. If you guys don't mind going into overtime, do you?
Nope, not at all. It's a huge subject.
So, all right, let's get back to
I don't
this.
have to pay taxes on it, so sure.
All right.
Mr. President, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, I'm sorry. Anyway, that's what I wanted. It had
really-
nothing to do with Afghanistan.
Okay, that answered my question.
And Mark, just really quickly, I promise it'll be brief. I just really would like to avoid, for the purpose of a clean record, getting into speculative areas. When the president responded and said, I don't recall intending to keep this memo, you then said, well, might you have thought it was important to keep whatever? And he said, well, I guess I could have. His recollection, as I understand it, is he does not recall specifically intending to keep this memo after he left the vice presidency. And I want these questions to be as clearly answered and recorded on the transcript as possible.
I think we should take a break.
Ladies and gentlemen, you just heard his attorney lift up his legs, take off the dirty diaper, wipe his ass, and put on the clean one. That's what he was doing right there.
That's figuratively, yes. Move on.
Literally.
What does the Democrats say right now? We're moving forward.
Moving forward. Good call. I like that, BZ.
Just move forward.
But that just kind of like totally changed everything that Biden rambled on about.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, when your attorney has to say, hey, so we have a clean record, don't ask any follow-ups, which is essentially what he just did.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't ask any follow-ups. He said he didn't remember. If you've ever been on if you've ever testified, and if you're testifying to facts and you say, I don't recall, two things can happen. They'll either offer you a copy of what you're testifying to. If you wrote the report, do you want your report to refresh your memory? Yes. I don't recall. Okay, let me see if I can frame this in a different context. Do you remember X, Y, and Z? Yes or no? Right? That's usually the two paths that it ends up at. And they try it again until your defense attorney objects and says, ask an answer to whatever. But
the prosecutor will say redirect.
Mm-hmm. He was rephrasing his question, which you're entitled to do as the prosecutor or as the attorney. Well, is it possible that you kept this document because you thought it might be important later? That's a fair question.
Sure.
That's not badgering. That's not unrelated. He's looking for a reason. If anything, the prosecutor was giving him an out to say, yeah, you know what? I probably held on to that because I thought it might be important later. I wanted to be able to, but at the time I didn't think it was going to come home with me. I thought it would stay in the secure archives where it was supposed to be.
Yeah,
and he couldn't do that.
Excuse me, Your Honor, leading the witness.
Yeah. He couldn't do it. Good, Joe. We had another video.
Yep. Got it queued up. It just.
Oh, this one's hard.
Yeah. I started playing this earlier around my wife and my mother, and they both were listening, going, guy's an idiot.
And now you know why the White House refused.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We know exactly why they refused to have this released. And now it explains, and I'll get to it in a second. Now I'll explain the last couple of days how I've been seeing a lot of X post of liberals. Oh, Joe's mental acuity so great, and they're still trying to defend him. And I'm like, why the hell are they bringing this up? And
well,
this comes up.
His former chief of staff just said in an interview, I don't recall him ever having any sort of memory or recollection issues, and he was sharp as a tack to the end.
Harry on X, I'm pretty sure everybody knows who I'm talking about. Oh, look at that. He was out and about today. Look how great he is. He's so with it. Oh, my God.
Haven't got the memo yet.
But all right, let's get on to this one.
Chambers Road, and there were documents related to the Penn Biden Center or the Biden or the cancer booster shot or your book. Where did you keep papers that related to those things that you were actively working on?
Well, I don't know. This is what, 2017, 18, that area?
Yes, sir.
Remember, in this time frame, my son is either been deployed or is dying.
What year did Bo die? Anybody know?
2015.
Ooh, you're fast.
And so,
Go ahead.
No, it's okay. Yeah, Bo passed away in 2015, so he wasn't deployed, and he wasn't dying in 2017. He'd already passed on. And remember, the other defense that they're going to use in this, and I want you, because Axios did a little bit, but the date on this was important. They're going to say he was exhausted because October 7th attack in Israel took place the day before, and he was probably up all night. Well, he should have put it off a day then.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
it was, and by the way, there were still a lot of people at the time when I got out of the Senate that were encouraging me to run in this period, except the president.
When he got out of the Senate.
Mm-hmm. In 2017. You know, when he was getting out of the Senate in 2017.
I thought maybe I misheard that.
No, that was when people were saying he had hairy legs.
And they like to rub their hands up and down, the kids do.
Joe Biden was in the Senate until 2000 and technically 2009, but his last hurrah was 2008, because then in 2009 he would have become
vice president.
Yeah.
All right.
That's not a mean thing to say. I mean, he just thought that she had a better shot of winning the presidency than I did.
He was
and
wrong.
So I hadn't at this point, even though I'm at Penn, I hadn't walked away from the idea that I might run for office again. If I ran again, I'd be running for president. And so what was happening though, what month did Bo die? May 30th, 2018. Was it 2015 he died?
2015.
I think it's 2015.
I'm not sure the months, but I think that was
That's right, Mr. President.
And what's happened in the meantime is that Trump gets elected in November of 2017? 2016. All right. So, why do I have 2017 here?
That's when you left office, January of 2017.
Okay. But that's when
It's hard to determine if he is trying to piece together a lie in his head to try to add a reason as to why he did this, or if he is just trying to legitimately recall memory. Either way, it's frightening. And you don't, I've fortunately, and hopefully I never have to, but I can tell you that as a parent, you remember the births of your children clear as day. And you, even if you don't necessarily I'm horrible with dates. I'm horrible with other people's birthdays. I never forget my kids. And I cannot imagine that losing a child, especially in the way he did, that you would ever forget that as well. And he did.
This is stream of consciousness. This is all this is. A stream of consciousness that has zero to do with anything. It's just he's speaking as it comes to him. Now, whether it's relevant or not, I think there's complete irrelevance, but this is what's going through his brain at the time that we're hearing it.
I could still, July 2nd, 2023, 12:32 is when my dad died, p.m.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No problem recalling that. Now, I don't remember what time I got married on. I know it was in April 8th of 2020, but don't ask me the time on that, because that one just, I try to block that one out. Thank God she doesn't listen.
Thank God.
Trump gets sworn in.
Right, correct.
Okay, yeah. Correct. And in 2017, Bo had passed, and personal. The genesis of the book and the title, Promise Me Dad, was I know you're all close with your sons and daughters, but Bo was like my right arm, and that was my left. These guys were a year and a day apart, and they could finish each other's sentences. And Bo.
Didn't Hunter sleep with Bo's wife?
Yes.
Funny
after he passed.
But again, goes to relevance. Where's the relevance? I see nothing.
He was trying to be the right arm, apparently. Sorry.
So I used to go home on the train.
Jesus.
In the period.
Let me guess, there's a conductor?
That I was still in the Senate.
Didn't that guy just open a beer?
Anyway.
Who's the one that said Jesus?
Me.
Oh, okay. I thought
that was me.
I was like, oh shit, that's bad. If the lawyer's going Jesus.
Didn't it sound like somebody cracked open a beer in the background?
Yes, and they probably should have.
Yeah, no kidding.
The fact that none of that was relevant to the question that was asked.
Zero. Nothing.
And he was starting to talk about his time as, and BZ, I know you probably will know the medical term for it. What is it when people are losing their memory and they're mid-conversation, they get lost, so they start recalling something that they actually do remember?
Sometimes.
And just huh?
Sometimers?
Yeah. No, but I mean, that's what happened. He was talking about Bo. He was talking about the death of Bo and how that played into all of this, even though it didn't. He couldn't remember when he was in office or when Trump was in office. He couldn't remember when he left office. And then as it trailed on through this like maelstrom of just jackassery, he gets to the point where he starts talking about a train.
Yeah, I was on a train too, you know.
Right. But he's recalling the same story he used to tell all the time is, I used to take the train every day when I was a senator. And when I was a senator, there was a conductor on the train who used to know me, and he'd say, Joey, da 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 da. That's where he was trying to go with this. And I don't know if somebody kicked him under the table or what, but I'm sorry.
Hey, let's be honest. It's pathetic.
It's unbelievably pathetic.
And this was the guy that was in charge of our country.
Yep. 3 a.m. phone call.
I want to get one thing. If they showed tapes like this of Trump, I'd be saying the exact same fucking thing about Trump. I don't give a shit. Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, Martian, whatever. If our president is that far gone, I'd be bitching and complaining.
Somebody like this does not deserve to be in a position of power.
Well, he wasn't.
Much less president.
He was in a position of power. He was just in a position, but somebody else had all the power.
Well, yes.
Yeah, and you know what, Big Earl? Almost to the point of elderly abuse of what they did to this man.
Oh, it's not. I agree. I don't think it's almost to the point. I think it is.
It was Joe Biden and Mission Ready Men. Earl Biggie Jackson is absolutely correct. I don't feel sad for him. I don't feel sad for the Biden family. I don't feel sad for Jill Biden. This man should have been enjoying a retirement and enjoying himself on the back porch, sipping whatever. And he should not have been pushed into this because they already knew what was happening. So if you place yourself on Front Street, expect that you're going to have to be wearing your big boy pants and you're going to get attacked and you're going to get exposed. Otherwise, don't fucking be there. But he was. So he's fodder.
It brings up the question, how bad was his mental acuity right along? And did he even know it was that bad? In other words, if everybody around you is telling you you're fine, why would you think that there's something wrong, right? You think about the campaign. It was the underground basement campaign. Very little interactions with people. We know that they were fake. Remember they had at the White House at the beginning, they had the fake stage that he would go to give his speeches. How many times do you think they had to record that before they got one they could use or piece it together, right? I'm not saying he wasn't fully aware at the beginning that he was running for president, but I don't know if he was fully aware of just how far gone he was, and they thought they were going to hide him for 4 years. 8.
I'm sorry, that guy, when he was running from the basement and what we saw, that
we all knew.
Yeah. And they knew too. It's just the hatred they have for Trump. They will damage this country, destroy this country without a second thought just because they hate that man.
Yep.
All right, we're almost done with this. And then if you guys got a few minutes, one article I want to hit.
Sure.
There was not pressure. Bo knew how much I adored him.
I don't doubt that.
And
nobody asked that.
Nobody
asked that question.
Relevance, Your Honor?
Almost like a guilty conscience.
It's not even that. It's just like, this is almost like I've never had Alzheimer's or a memory issue like this, but it almost feels like mentally he's lost in this web and he's trying to find the answer, and he's just throwing out the buzzwords that will buy him time or make him seem sympathetic until he gets to that answer through, as BZ said, a stream of consciousness.
Yeah.
Everybody knew how close we were. There was not anybody in the world who wondered whether or not. Anyway. And so.
Sir, I'm wondering if this is a good time to take a break.
Yeah.
No, let me just keep going to get it done.
His lawyer probably just started drinking right there.
Yeah.
As soon as he said, no, let's just keep going, get it done, the lawyer was like, no, go for it.
Carolyn, bring me another White Claw.
Yeah.
And that poor FBI agent, how bad was he attacked for stating the obvious?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. They treated her like he was some sort of monster when all he was is honest. At this point, honest. He was honest. He was a well-meaning old man with a lapsing memory, I believe he said, who we can't prosecute because he doesn't
because of lack of cognition.
And he didn't say he was a bad guy. He didn't say he was a bad guy. He didn't say he was evil. He didn't say any of those things. He said, I can't put this guy on the stand. The judge will kill me if I put this guy on the stand. 100%.
Democrats, I know, would have blocked any type of case like that, because as soon as he got put up there, that judge would have ruled him, incompetent to stand trial, and then all hell would have broke loose from there.
Incompetent to stand trial, but let's have him be president for another 4 months?
Weren't they afraid of Trump having control of the nuclear football he's going to launch? But we're going to let a man that basically
Joe didn't have control of any of that.
What?
Joe didn't have control of any of that. I'll tell you right now. And
I know that, but I'm going by their logic, using their own.
No, I understand what you're doing, but the simple fact of the matter is Joe wasn't in charge of this country probably the last 2 years.
No, who was going to cabinet meetings? His wife and his son, who didn't have top secret clearance.
Well, and even beyond that, it's just and the cabinet meetings, but I'm talking about the actual decisions that matter. The ones that happen, behind closed doors, the ones that, shape the country, the ones where if the phone rang at 3:00 in the morning, who you going to get that would answer it? He wasn't running the country. And that should be frightening. If anybody's watching this and they're trying to defend Joe saying, oh, he was just, he was sharp and this was a bad day and yada, yada, yada. You don't get to have a bad day as a president when there's defecation hits the oscillation. You have to be sharp. You can't do 6 hours of work when we're at war or some other gigantic travesty and then call it a day. It's your job to lead and make decisions. And I will tell you right now, I put out a post where I cited a whole bunch of laws where people need to be prosecuted. At some point, everybody under his administration needs to be put on a stand. They need to be sworn in, and there needs to be questions asked.
I just asked, speaking of that, ChatGPT said, give me the people that were closest to Biden during his administration. And it said, Ron Klain, chief of staff, his relationship goes back decades. Mike Donelon, senior advisor, who was fluent in Bidenese. Steve Ricchetti, counselor, former lobbyist who helped the president get a book deal. Anita Dunn, senior advisor, goes back to the Carter administration. Bruce Reed, deputy chief of staff, worked with Biden for the Clinton years. Jennifer O'Malley Dillon, deputy chief of staff. What she says and does touches on everything. Start there.
But I did get another audio clip for you of Biden.
Hit it.
When the fuck did we get ice cream?
Yeah, exactly. That's probably what he asked at the end of every single damn.
I don't know why I love that clip from that movie.
Movie is hysterical.
Inquiring minds like ours want to know.
When the fuck do we have ice cream? All right. Let's get to the other big topic of today that went on. SCOTUS.
Oh, God, yeah.
The Alien Enemies Act. They kicked it down to the lower court for them to deal with. I think this is basically a political football that they did not want to deal with. So
agreed.
Completely. Absolutely.
They just kicked it back down to what, the 5th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals? Because they did, to be clear, we decide today only that the detainees are entitled to more notice than was given on April 18th. Because you got Schumer going, oh, see, SCOTUS said that it's illegal for him to use the Alien Enemies Act. That's not what they
have
said.
more notice.
There is a bit, just a wee bit of sunlight in this in terms of it. Okay, it blocked the Trump administration from removing the Venezuelans, I think it was, from the U.S. under the Alien Enemies Act until the appeals are resolved. Okay, so then it kicks it back down. But you're both correct. They didn't want to have anything to do with it. So Alito dissented from the order in a 14-page opinion, joined by Justice Clarence Thomas. In Alito's view, the Supreme Court had no authority to issue a relief. Two people who are actually interested in abiding by the Constitution. Thank you.
But, and also and I'm not a lawyer, it doesn't says so far that he can't use it.
No, it just says you're going to give more notice. It says that the procedure needs to be fixed is what really is being said. Not saying you can't do it, but how you do it needs to be fixed.
And we need to put out there. You got the Democrats screaming about due process, yada, yada, yada. The same Democrats didn't complain with Bush, Obama, Trump 45, and Biden. Because none of them used due process and kicked out illegals. And now all of a sudden.
Well, and there's immigration courts that decide certain things. That's great, but these aren't people who qualify for immigration court.
Right.
You know, when he's talking about suspending habeas corpus for illegals, and people say he's suspending habeas corpus, not for citizens. He's not suspending it for citizens. He doesn't get to do that. All right. But yes, are they suspending it for illegals? People that absolutely came into this country in a way, shape, and form that is not at all legal and chose to stay here knowing that they would need, in most situations, a shoehorn to get rid of them because that's just how they're abusing our laws. Absolutely, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it.
Well, let's go back. Like I said before on shows, let's go back to the facts. The facts are that under Clinton, 869,000 were removed. Under Bush, 2,012,000. Under Obama, 3,062,000. Under Trump, 45, 1,100,000. Under Biden, 616,000, and under Trump, 27,772.
Did they all have a 6 month immigration case?
Up till then, no complaints.
And I'm sure they all had a case with lawyers.
Sure.
Yeah, all of them.
Of course.
You realize if we gave every single one of them a case right now with the 10 million that came in under Biden, we've only gotten rid of, would you say 65,000, something like that? 10 years alone, even if every single case lasted a day and it happened 100 times a day in this country, do the math.
Yeah.
You look at, I'll be dead before, and these people will be dying still waiting for their trial date.
And everyone knows that. That is the point. That's the point.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, that's what I mean.
Point is Cloward Piven.
Yep.
Which was meant to derail entitlements and welfare, but can be used like anything. Like Alinsky's rules can be used for anything by anyone.
You can apply them to whatever you want to apply them to.
That went a lot faster than I thought it would.
That was fast.
Being happy as hell here tonight.
Yeah. Anything you guys want to go over real quick?
No, I think her report needs to be released fully. I think the full audio needs to be released. The SCOTUS case is a big deal, but at the end of the day, I agree with BZ. I don't think this doesn't kill the case. All they're saying is you have to make proper notifications and adjust how you do it. So instead of being picked up and deported 4 days later, they might be picked up. And this is just specifically Venezuela too. People forget about that.
That's correct.
It's not every country. It's just Venezuela. And so instead of leaving in 4 days, they may leave
one other
in
country,
24 days.
Colombia or something. It's also under that order.
Well, maybe, but I thought Venezuela was the big one because that was the one that had the.
Yeah, that's the big one. But I think there's Colombia possibly.
But even still, I'm sure they'll find out what the courts are looking for a timely notification, and the timely notification is not them, from what I understand and what I grokked from it, is not them saying, "Hey, we're going to come arrest you in 5 days." It's no, you get arrested and how soon it is before you leave the country and be returned, if I understand what I read to be true.
They have to give them a reasonable amount of time to appeal.
Yeah. So,
but the deal is we all agree about this one thing. The SCOTUS did nothing but kick another can down the road. There was some specificity, but nowhere near the specificity we need to stop these violent actions of American against American. And SCOTUS doesn't want to address that. I'd love to be able to say something similar to, they will, in due time, they will have to take this up. No, they don't. And until they do, and until a strict line is delineated, this will just continue. Birthright citizenship, that's up next. What do you say? They don't even not split the baby. What do you say? They say something similar to, well, we've considered it, and the local courts, the district courts, or from whatever court that stemmed, you'll have to reconsider it again. I have no faith.
I thought they already heard that case.
The birthright citizenship case, it's not yet decided.
No, but they accepted the case, I thought, because they heard testimony on that.
Yes, they did. There was testimony.
It hasn't been decided yet, though.
Yeah, no decision, no opinion has come out.
No, but I thought they decided to hear the case. Once they decide to hear the case, then they rule on it. Whereas this, the Alien Enemies Act is they didn't even take the case,
and
so they didn't have any arguments.
Their decision can be: we decide not to decide, and we decide to kick it back. Which is what they did with this.
That's bullshit. Once they accept the case, they should have to rule on the case.
Those are a multiplicity of all the options that are available to them.
Well, and a lot of times they don't hear the case because it doesn't amount to the question doesn't amount to or let me rephrase that. When it gets up to them, they look at a case and say, you haven't exhausted all avenues yet that you need to exhaust before it can get to us. Is essentially that's the easiest way to explain it.
They ask, is it actionable? And then if not, then they won't take it.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, damn it.
What?
When you got to sneeze and then it goes away.
Did you inhale a worker killer bee?
I did not inhale.
Did one of the spaceships attack you too?
Nope, not yet.
Okay, good.
No anal probing.
Ooh.
All right, guys. I think that's going to be it. We went into overtime, and I appreciate both of you being here. BC, tell them where they can find you.
Okay. All right. I'm thinking about doing a show on Sunday night, but I'm not sure. Absent that, I'm on Tuesday and Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Central, 11 p.m. Eastern, and you'll find me just like this. I am jam-packed with wonderful, buttery political goodness in a bulbous fashion. I almost said the F word. In a bulbous fashion right here. Thanks for asking, Joe.
Yeah, there's no cursing on this show.
I know.
My virgin ears.
I know. Your little shell-like ears would be
At least something's left that way.
All right. Thank you, BC. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, sir. Cha-cha.
And on to you, sir.
Every Monday and Wednesday, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 on the East Coast on SHR Media. You can see me on X, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook Live, and there's something else too. I always forget what it is. And obviously Rumble. X. I thought I said Rumble at the beginning, but that's okay. And on X, you can find me at the number 2 against tyranny. That's where I spend most of the time. So thank you for having me, Joe. I really appreciate it, my friend.
Anytime. Don't forget to go check out shrmedia.com that Sean just redid.
Oh, and like and subscribe while you're here. Like and subscribe if you haven't.
At 500 mark.
Like if you're over in the Facebook side and you're hanging out over there and you like the chat interface, cool, great. But do us a favor. Jump to the YouTube side, SHR Media. Just click subscribe. Help us out. We need 26 to get over 500. We've added a few in the last few days. It's been going. So let's keep that momentum up.
Yep. All right, sir. You have a great weekend.
You as well. Thank you.
All right. And I want to thank everybody that was here tonight. I appreciate it. You could have been anywhere else and you were here. Thank you so much. I will be back on Monday, 9 p.m. right here on SHR Media through X, Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Tomorrow night is going to be a great night. It's a fishing night. And thank you, Big Earl. Thank you, Claudia. Thank you, Lost Wanderer. The Phantom. No thank you to that person. Mike was here earlier. Everybody in chat, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Everybody, have a great weekend.